Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Target exclusive gold label Commander Steel. Let's get a better look at that packaging, shall we? So here is Commander Steel's packaging in all of its glory here. We of course have the gold label logo up there with of course 12 plus age recommendation up there. We of course at the bottom of the front, we of course have the DC Multiverse logo with the Commander Steel nameplate right there. On the side of the packaging here, we of course have the Commander Steel nameplate again, with the DC Multiverse logo up at the top, the McFarlane Toys logo down at the bottom there. On the back, we have this gorgeous painting by Alex Ross of Commander Steel, and of course it has Commander Steel from JSA, which it's very obscure since he's a member of the Justice Society, but I'm assuming Alex Ross did a JSA book. I don't know, but this is very Alex Ross here. You can tell because of how realistic it looks. And then you, of course, have the McFarlane Toys social medias. Of course, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On the other side, we, of course, have the Commander Steel nameplate from JSA. Big and large right there. And then, of course, up at the top, we have the DC Multiverse logo up there. On the bottom, another McFarlane Toys logo. And up at the tippy top, we, of course, have the 22 moving parts with another McFarlane Toys logo. And then a window looking down over the figure. And, of course, at the bottom of the packaging, we have the Justice League legalese right there with the barcode for all you barcode hunters out there. But alright guys, let's get this dude out of the packaging. And here we have Commander Steel out of the packaging here. And of course, before we take a look at the figure himself, we're of course going to take a look at the other contents. So up first, we of course have the classic DC Multiverse base right there. With of course the DC logo right there with the peg right there. And of course nothing on the back. And then we have, of course, the card here, which has Commander Steel's beautiful Alex Ross painting right there. And of course from JSA. And on the back, it has a little bio on Commander Steel, which from my understanding is kind of what I know as well, because I don't know about you guys, but I know about this character. Like, I knew about him before he showed up, because I just knew about weird characters like that. But I mainly knew this character from a little show called Legends of Tomorrow in the Arrowverse. And he shows up in season 2 of that. But for some reason, the Arrowverse was not a fan of reusing aliases. They always, whenever they ran into a predicament when it came to aliases, like when Eobard Thawne showed up as Reverse Flash in the first season, for some reason Zoom was a completely different character and wasn't just Professor Zoom, another Reverse Flash like he is in the comics. He was his own character. He had a complete redesign and everything. Same thing with Commander Steel here, because Legends of Tomorrow, if you don't know, is basically a superhero time travel show where they go to all of these different kinds of periods. And so they went to World War II, where they met the Arrowverse's version of the JSA. And Commander Steel's on the team, but it's not the guy you see in front of you. It's this Captain America-looking dude who's basically, yeah, just a crack shot in patriotic colors. But through some means, he gets injured, and since Nate Haywood is a hemophiliac, his blood can't clot. So they gave him a super soldier serum, and he was able to turn his skin into steel. And that, of course, what helped him go on to become Commander Steel, or in the show, Legends of Tomorrow, Citizen Steel, which is a dumb name. So that's kind of where I know this character from, and he is a highlight of that show. Same with John Constantine. I really liked what they did with him there. When Wally showed up, that was cool. The Atom I thought was really cool, but season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow is probably peak Arrowverse on top of like season 5. Seasons 1, 2, 5 and of Arrow and the first 2 seasons of The Flash. All of those seasons are peak Arrowverse. The rest you can kind of take it or leave it, to be honest. But overall, I really like this character, and that's usually what I know him from. So I was really intrigued to see him get his own figure when it came out. But in terms of the figure's accessories, we of course have some alternate hands here. You of course, on the figure, you can see he has like an open wide, he has kind of like a relaxed hand and a fist hand. So we kind of have the mirror of those with these hands right here, where you have kind of the open relaxed hand and the fist for the alternate hands, because on the current figure I have him on the right, the fist on the right, open on the left. Of course you have the right open, left fist. And then he comes with 2 other hands, which is a more relaxed hand for the right hand and a pointer finger for the left hand. But anyway, let's get into the figure now. If I could stop the turntable. Get him into a more neutral position. So I don't know a lot about his comic portrayal, but for the figure anyway, he is, speaking of, since our last video was of the Speeding Bullets Speeding Bullets Batman, this is a reuse of that body book. So, and how do I know this? The same lines going completely down the figure, like so. So this is the Speeding Bullets body book, but how they use it, I think, is relatively well, all things considered. You have, of course, the fin on the top, which the fin isn't 100% straight, which kind of sucks. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's straight enough. And then you also have, of course, the bird, which looks more Nightwing inspired, which is funny because this is a character that has been in the comics longer than Nightwing, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I think so, though. Let me know in the comments if I'm right on that or not. But you, of course, have the star with the bird right there. Nice silver paint right there. You, of course, have the V's on the shoulders, the stripes going all the way down to the blue gloves. Again, you don't need to have all this, what would this be called? All this lining, I suppose. You don't need that. Like, you could have easily used a another Batman. Like, you could have used the Three Jokers Batman book, and I don't think anybody would have complained. But, and it would have been less noticeable because it's a more flat body with a lot less sculpting details unique to a singular figure. But for the head, I'm not a huge fan of the white eyes because of the fact that it shows his actual skin inside the eyes. Usually when they do the white eyes, they usually don't show the like the rest of the eye area. Like with Barry Allen, when he has his Flash cowl, he has actual pupils. Same with Ray Palmer's Atom. But when you come to Batman, it's full white eyes. So he almost looks like he's possessed or something. Like, that's what it kind of reminds me of, and it's really freaky to look at. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, if they wanted to do that, they should have painted his skin gray and he would have been steeled up. That would have been cool. But instead, you have this weird hodgepodge where it's like, just give me the pupils or just paint him steel colored. Like, he, of course, has blue accents on top of the head there, covering his ears. Of course, as the star going down, you have the blue briefs. And I don't know if these are reused or not. They don't ring a bell. So if they are reused, this is probably the second time they've been used or something. But they're not coming out to me as like, oh, they're reuse of this piece or whatever. So you have the blue briefs right there. And then come down, you got the lines going all the way down the legs there, all the way to the blue boots. And I do like the continuance of the actual silver lining going all the way down the uniform. I like that it gives a sense of continuity, as well as the fact that it really brings the silver really brings the outfit together in terms of like, you know, the red and the blue, and then the silver kind of bringing everything home. And it does really help when you don't have your Captain America character, or you don't want to have the same color as Superman. So it really gives a sense of a patriotic character, but without necessarily aping off of the two most popular patriotic characters, if that makes sense. So overall, very solid design. And oh, he's got more of that star going down the back as the same on the front, just without the actual bird on the back. Just ironically, just like Nightwing. But let's get a look at the articulation. So he looks not that far up. And I can't remember if the comic version can fly or not. I want to say he can, but I can't remember if he can fly or not. And then he, of course, can look down. He can rotate his head all the way around. And head pivot like so. Standard double ball peg tings right there. And for the shoulder, he, of course, can hinge it all the way out like so. Full 360 all the way around. He has a nice butterfly joint in there, full on silver, but it kind of breaks up the sculpt, but not too much if you're looking at it from the front, that is. And then he, of course, has bicep swivel, very tight bicep swivel, just like Speeding Bullet's Batman. He has a double jointed elbow with those shoulders that's like, jeez, that's a yikes. And then you, of course, have the McFarlane wrists, which, of course, you can do roll the dice hinge if you want, and then you can rotate it at the top and the bottom, and you can do in and out on the wrist, so you have both options available to you for maximum posability. And I love these wrist joints. They're one of my favorite parts of the McFarlane like standard body buck. And then for the torso, he can crunch that far forward, he can move that far back. Perfect range, in my opinion. He can twist side to side, so a lot of mobility in the abs there. Honestly, perfect. So 10 out of 10 abs for me. 10 out of 10 abs. And then for the legs, you, of course, have standard McFarlane joints right there. He can move them that far forward. He can move them that far back. He has nice thigh pivot right there. Double jointed knees like so. And then you, of course, rotate an ankle up at the top. Pivot at the bottom of the joint. And then, of course, hinge up and down. And, of course, toe articulation and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Apparently, since he was a part of Justice League Detroit, for our first comparison here, we have all of the members of Justice League Detroit here in the line so far. We, of course, have Aquaman, of course, our new Commander Steel, Batman, even though this is Rebirth Batman, it's still Batman, and Martian Manhunter right there. And I'd say, solid lineup. And here we are with Commander Steel next to all of the members of the Justice Society that I have in my collection, excluding characters like, first appearance Batman, stuff like that. The main members of the Justice Society. We, of course, have Jay Garrick Flash Red Tornado, of course, our new Commander Steel there, the Spectre, and Alan Scott Green Lantern right there. And I might say, the Justice Society is coming together in terms of the line, and they all look great next to each other. Great to see more Todd doing more teams instead of just Batman after Batman after Batman. Here's Commander Steel with a lot of the Legends cast members here. We, of course, have a part-timer who'd appear in probably, I want to say, every season at least once. Like, whenever they'd go to the Old West in Legends, Jonah Hex somehow was always there. And so he kind of, in my opinion, is kind of like a part-timer on the Legends. He was always a recurring character, and whenever he did pull up, it was fun. And then you, of course, have Ray Palmer as Adam back there. Of course, John Constantine, because he was in there for a few seasons, and Matt Ryan is the definitive John Constantine for me. We, of course, have our new Commander Steel back there. We have Firestorm, of course. Wally West, Kid Flash, because he was on there for a time. And then we have Hawkman, who was in there for only one season, really. But overall, he still made a massive impact on the term of the series, and they brought him back a few times. So he was definitely on the team a bunch. But overall, solid group of characters, all in a very consistent style, too. So they really do work together as kind of a Legends kind of mock-up, even though Constantine is more based off of a realistic style, being based off of Lee Bermejo's design for him. But without that really coming into effect, it's all very much a very comic booky kind of style, which you could really do a lot with if you wanted to make a Legends kind of area for your show. And here we are with all of the different versions of this buck that I have in my collection. We, of course, have Black Lightning here, Commander Steel, and Speeding Bullets, the original progenitor of this body buck here. And I gotta say, it's a solid buck. I'm not gonna lie. It's good for like a bulkier kind of superhero that normally wouldn't be good for like the Booster Gold Blue Beetle buck. But overall, solid buck, I'm not gonna lie. And these characters still do look great together. Like, I'd love to see a Black Lightning Commander Steel team up. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty fun, I think. Here we are kind of winding down on our look at Commander Steel here. Overall, I think he's a solid figure. Not exactly top tier, but what I would say is that the head is very creepy to look at. I went into detail with that in my in-depth look at all the detail of the figure and articulation. That segment, I went into all the details I really need to about my opinions there. But in short, the head's very uncomfortable to look at. The rest of the figure, I don't mind. I really like all the paint apps and stuff like that. Not a lot of paint apps wrong with this figure. The ab range, I think, is really admirable. And overall, I think it's a solid repaint of a buck. And it lends to the character since he is more of a tank from what I have seen in the comics. And of course, Todd is giving out for extra hands now, which is nice. I guess he's seeing Marvel's really stepping up their game, so he's got to step it up as well. But with all that being said and done, I think I'm going to have to give this character a 7, just because of the fact that there's nothing here really screaming, oh my god, I need to get this figure. If you're a huge fan of the Legends show, you're going to want to get him. He's a major character of that show. If you're a fan of ancillary heroes, kind of like how I am, you're going to want to get this guy. And of course, if you're a Justice Society fan, you're going to want to get him because apparently he was a member of the Justice Society at one point. But with all that said and done, he's kind of an ancillary character. He's not the broadest of appeals, and he's not one of the great figures that are just standouts of the year or whatever. He's no Jonah Hex, in my opinion, which I gave that figure a 10 out of 10. But with all that said and done, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about this guy down in the comments down below. It really brightens up the editing process and really gives me hope that this channel is worthwhile, because you have those moments. And with all that said and done, of course, keep collecting, stay kind and courteous out there, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.